Nathan Sykes is on. When you're done performing, you know in your heart of hearts if it was good, great, or fantastic. I mean, you know?
I'm the biggest perfectionist on the planet, so I'll sit there and I'll make notes in my head. I talk to myself when I'm performing. I'll be thinking about kind of what I'm having for tea and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just like a weird habit. But then I'll make notes. Like, I'll be like, oh, I could have sang that better. And then I'll walk off stage and be like, oh, that was great. I'll be like, the second line in the second verse could have been sung better.
Wait, so you actually have these thoughts while you're singing lyrics and playing a piano?
Yeah, it's really,
Don't do that. That's dangerous.
Yeah, I know it is.
Because, you know, what is my favorite line in the song is, you know, put your heart in my hands and I won't break it. Yeah. What if you sang, put your heart in my hands, I want a cup of tea? Yeah. Like, what the hell is he thinking?
You know what? That's happened before. I was thinking about fish and chips, and it very nearly turned into a very different song.
I got to tell you, you know, we've been following your story ever since you were with the guys with The Wanted.
Yes.
And then, you know, and we saw on the show at one time, you were going through the vocal problems.
Yeah.
And you had to have an operation.
Yes.
The show made that out to be a very frightening thing.
Yeah.
Was it as frightening as it looked? Because I would have been petrified had I been you.
I think it was more petrifying. Really? I remember like playing it really cool when I got told I had to have the operation. And then I remember walking out of the office as such. And I went and sat down and rang my mum. And I just remember saying the words, I need to have surgery. And there's a chance I might not be able to sing again. And I just remember at that moment just breaking down, and I was just sat there sobbing. I was just petrified.
And that was your life, your voice, your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do if this doesn't work out. I was like, I made a great cup of tea though, so I could do that for a living.
Well, there you go.
You can work at Starbucks. Why not?
Professional tea maker.
That was
Why
my
not?
question: is like, what options? Because your brain runs so quickly in those moments, and you're like 10 years down the road. Like, did your brain actually come up with, this is what I'll do then?
You know what? I've always been very passionate about like helping like young artists and helping develop them and encourage them, and I'm very passionate about like music and education and stuff like that. So I was like, I definitely want to do stuff like that anyway. So I'd probably just end up doing that full time. But I was like, no, actually, I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to make sure I get better and make sure I pay so much attention to the recovery period, because that's just as important as the operation.
Do what the doctors tell you.
Absolutely.
I guess the reason I bring it up, I'm not trying to be, you know, Mr. Negative Nancy talking about a dark cloud over your life, but what good things happened to you as a performer, but as a human being, when you almost had your passion taken away from you?
Well, you know what? I look back now and I very firmly say I think that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Isn't that weird to say that, but it's so true, right?
Yeah, at the time I was like, this is dreadful. I was hating every single second. But it was honestly the most amazing thing, because I went back to basics. I learned basically how to sing again and how to use my vocal cords again.
Wow.
You do have to take it that far back?
Absolutely. Because you're on like a month of no speaking. I remember speaking for the first time, and because I hadn't used my vocals in like a month, my voice had dropped so much. Like, I basically made like Barry White look like a tenor. It was so deep, and I was like, oh my God, what's happened to my voice? I was like, what has he done to my voice? He was like, what has he done to my voice? And I remember ringing, I was like, what have you done to my voice, Dr. Naziri? And he's like, it's fine, it's what happens. I was like, thanks for the heads up. But then I went back to basics and learned how to sing again. And then like my control, my technique and all that sort of stuff has improved so much. And I'm so grateful for that.
You sound awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, look, you know, here we are all kind of, you know, slithering through life, looking for things, you know, from the stars or from whatever, you know, we believe in. Our spirituality takes us different ways, this and that. But I wish we all could learn these lessons that you learned through tragedy without going through tragic moments. And that's why hearing your story hopefully helps some of us go, you know what? Life is good. We need to take advantage of what God gave us.
Absolutely.
And ride that horse every day.
Yeah, and I think it's about believing in yourself as well, because I always tell people the one thing stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve in life is yourself mentally.
It is.
And as soon as that operation happened, I was like, I'm going to make my comeback. I'm not going to do it any small gig. I'm going to do it a cappella at Wembley Stadium in London. Why not? Because if I think big, I'm going to aim big. And then that really got me through it. And yeah, that was a really cool moment as well.
The only thing better than a cappella at Wembley Stadium performing at the Elvis Duran Performing Arts Center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So over and over again, the track that we play here has Ariana on it.
Yes.
And I went out there and I jokingly said, you know, she's not here. So let me do the Ariana part.
Oh, goodness.
And
He
looked-
meant it. You know he meant it.
Yeah.
Like, deep
he
down.
looked at me like I was from another planet.
No, but now you've said about Hot Ginger.
Hot Ginger.
Like that would be a really cool moment.
It's Nathan Sykes over and over again featuring Hot Ginger. So I mean, how did you guys get together for this track? Whose idea was it? It's your song?
It was, yeah.
And then you said, you know what, Ariana would be great for this.
Yeah, I wrote the song about almost like a year and a half ago, I think now.
Right.
And I wrote it with like 2 ideas in mind, 3 ideas in mind, like a solo track, a duet, and also for it to lend itself to remixes really well.
Right.
And that's worked out really well because it went #1 on the Billboard Dance Club chart, and I was like, okay, remixes work, check. Solo track has been released, check. And then I was like, okay, I think Ari would sound amazing on this. And we did a track called Almost Is Never Enough on her debut album, Yours Truly. And I was like, you know what? That went down really well and people really enjoyed it. So I think people may enjoy this.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, the reaction's
and
been
you both have
incredible.
such beautiful voices.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They just make sense on this song. Is love like a really frightening... I'm not saying you have to be in a relationship now, but
Yeah.
do you take love that seriously? Because that's a serious love song.
Yeah, you know what? When I get invested, I'm very invested. But I think I'm not the type of guy to kind of sit down at the piano and be like, hey, listen to what I've just been writing. Because that's just a bit cringy. And they'd be like, go away.
I know, but if I was a mom and I had a daughter your age, that would,
Yeah.
then I think you two would be great on a date. I'm like, God, he's talking about taking my daughter's heart in his hands and not breaking my daughter's heart. I want her to date Nathan.
Oh.
Yeah,
you
that's
know what?
like-
I'm not going to be single for much longer at this rate.
That's like your dating business card.
So this album, this so-called album that we're dying to have out, I've yet to hear a date on this. When
Yes.
do you think it might be available for all of us?
I'm saying the fall, but I'm going to try and be a bit more specific and say around September time.
Wow, whatever you do, let's not commit. So he's a guy with commitment issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly my problem. I've been told that far too many times before in the past.
And that's okay. You don't want to commit
Hey,
unless
I'm 22 years old.
you don't want to commit unless it's right.
Yeah,
And that's with
very
women,
true.
cars, and albums.
Yep.
Yep.
But it's so fine to be in our seats and watching you come from where you were and end up where you are today.
Thank you.
Knowing that it's still going to continue to
Yeah.
go out
Thank
into
you
outer
very
space and do
much.
great things for you. Nathan Sykes, you're fabulous. You always
Thank
have a
you so
home
much.
here with us. Come back and see
Thank
us
you.
again.
I appreciate it
Nathan
so much.
Sykes,
Thank you.
round of applause. Fabulous.